Aloha, I'm Timory McDonald, and today I'd like to share some information with you about receptions. I've spoken with a lot of people recently who are looking for somebody to plan their reception and seem to be very surprised to find out that we at Aloha Ever After do plan receptions, so just to let you know we do. I'm going to start with the smallest group of receptions and move to the largest, so if you know you're planning a reception for a large group of people, you can go ahead and skip to the end of this video. So most of the time when people invite people out here, the average number of people who end up coming is about half. So don't feel discouraged or take it personally if you invite 50 people and you only have 20 or 25 come. That's really common, and I see it happen all the time. The reason I'm providing this information is because a lot of times people call me and they're ready to plan a reception, but they have really no idea how many people are going to actually come. They just know how many people they invited. And the amount of people that come to your reception change how the cost and how the entire reception would work a lot. Whereas the number of people that come to your wedding don't change things at all. You could plan the same wedding exactly the same, even if 0 people are planning on coming. But with the reception, it works differently. So I would suggest that you go ahead and you put your deposit down and move forward on your wedding plans, and then treat the reception as a different entity and wait till you get a closer, at least a ballpark figure of how many people are really going to buy the tickets and make the reservations and come. So let's say you have a really small group of people, somewhere between a couple of people and 10 people coming out. Traditionally, the easiest thing for people that I've seen them do most is they just pick a nice restaurant and they go out to eat and do something special there. Now it is possible, if you want to make it more special, to ask somebody, a company like Aloha Ever After, to do some sort of decoration or something, making that space nice. But honestly, I think that's something that most people can cover themselves with the restaurant's help. Now, a little bit of a larger group would be something like over 10 people, maybe say 10 to 20 or 25 people. Now, this is a common type of group number where people come to me and they basically say, what can we do with this group of people? And this mid-range group can do what people do in the smaller groups, or they can do what people do in the larger groups. They can go to a restaurant and just treat it like a nice dinner, or they can move into the informational present later. Mid-sized groups can also use a private property such as a condo or a vacation rental, and they can turn that space into a private party. That's something where a company such as my own would be really helpful. A restaurant, I don't know how much help you need. They can also move it to a property such as a resort and do a really beautiful reception there. When you're looking at the restaurant possibilities, it's possible to rent out an entire restaurant, it's possible to rent out a small section of a restaurant, and it's possible to just find a back room. I would suggest trying to find a back room in a restaurant, because when you start renting out whole sections, normally the restaurant will ask for you to sign some sort of contract that basically says you need to spend a certain amount of money there, and then things get more expensive quickly once you do that. However, it does give you privacy, because then you won't be in the middle of a public setting. This is why often people choose to do a private reception in a larger area like a hotel or a tent, or in their own vacation rental or some other type of area that they've rented out. This is because they would like to have the privacy, they'd like to have it be loud, maybe do dancing, basically be able to do all the fun things that you do at a party. So larger groups, over 20 or 25 and more, sometimes they choose to do things at a hotel, because that's a beautiful setting, in which case you do need a coordinator, because there are going to be a lot of details. There's the food, there's a catering. Do you want it buffet style, or do you want seated dinners? There's also things like linens, place settings, tables, chairs, decorations, lighting, then of course the photographer, videographer, all the things that you have had earlier, music, DJ, dance floor. There's a lot to put together if you do it in a tent setting or if you do it in a hotel setting. There are some beautiful resorts out here. Again, I would suggest looking at Kauai Beach Resort. There are a lot of beautiful places, but hotels aren't the least expensive way to go. Neither are resorts. Vacation rentals for the mid-sized group work out nicely in terms of cost. I have a lot of people calling and asking me about tents. So with this larger group, it may turn out to be cost effective, but most people are surprised to find out that it costs in excess of $1,000 for even a basic tent. Then you still need to add on the rental of the tables, the chairs, the plates, the silverware, the cups. It all adds up quickly. So if you're looking to rent a tent for your private party, you also need to be paying a rental fee in some sort of terms for a property somewhere. So there's a good chance that the budget for such a party would probably go over 10 grand. Now it depends, you know, I mean, that's not a fee from my company. It depends very much on how much you're paying for the property and what size tent you're looking at. But I'm just giving you an idea that most people, when they talk to me, they have no idea that renting a tent and throwing a party would cost anywhere near that much money. So for the larger groups, again, you're looking at the same amount of cost for the base setup. So what I'm saying by this is that whether you have 10 people show up or whether you have 100 people show up, you still need to pay the same price for the tent and for the DJ and for the dance floor. When you get to prices per person, it is normally in terms of rental of linens, chairs, tables, and food. So a lot of times people call and they say, how much is it going to cost per person? Well, it depends which type of party we're talking about, because obviously as soon as you get into a tent or a resort situation, it's going to be more pricey than if we're talking about at a restaurant. So I'm just giving you a little bit of a span of the types of conversations that you might be having with me or another coordinator when you give a call and you say, this is about how many people I've invited and this is how many people might actually come. So that should give you at least a general overlay on it. And of course, in any of these situations, we can do beautiful tropical decorations with gorgeous flowers around the pillars or flowing fabric, nice candle centerpieces with floating candles and gorgeous tropical flowers reflecting in the light underneath them. Any place can be decorated to look beautiful in Hawaii, and we can even bring in Hawaiian shows and have some fire dancers and lots of beautiful places to take a reception. DJs doing dancing. I came from a reception tonight and there was a wonderful DJ and the entire place was having a wonderful time. So there's a lot of different traditional as well as Hawaiian flares that we can give to things. So I would like to end by saying whatever you decide to do with your reception, it's possible to give it a Hawaiian flair and it's possible to keep it cost effective. There are just so many different places to go with it that it's a little less straightforward than planning a wedding. A wedding has a package and a price and it doesn't matter how many people are coming. A reception has so many different, you know, are you going to have this kind of food or that kind of food? Are you going to have a tent? Are you going to have it in a restaurant? Some people even decide to go to luau's. I haven't brought that up as a possibility because honestly they're pretty loud. They cost in excess of $85 a person, so they're not really that much cheaper. They do include all the food and alcohol as well as a show, but really it's not something you're going to talk to the person next to you. It's something where you're all going to be watching the same show together and it's going to be loud. So personally, I consider it more of something to do during your wedding week with the people that have come with you, as opposed to reception, but that's just my personal opinion. Many people do it and it works out well for them. So if you have a smaller group, that's one more option to consider. So I hope that was helpful. Have a great night. Aloha.